Hello and welcome back to the Dung Spreader channel. What are we looking at today? Well, it's nothing to do with farming and it's nothing to do with firearms. It's a motorcycle, and more specifically it's a Rickman MK3. I'll just pan back, excuse my crappy camera, crappy phone really, but I'm doing my best. It is absolutely pouring with rain outside, so it's time to do a bit of work in the shed. Bit of history. I managed to land back in Britain at the time of the COVID outbreak and have been locked down on and off for about a year now, and I thought, well, I've got to do something, so I built this shed and started fixing up old motorbikes being a particular pastime that I enjoy. Anyways, and of course we can't just have an ordinary modern Japanese motorbike or German or whatever, that would be too boring. No, we have to get something historic, we have to get something iconic, we have to get something with a bit of soul, and this bike definitely has soul. It is a Rickman MK3. Now, Rickman motorcycles started out in the south of England in the late 50s, early 60s by two brothers, Don and Derek Rickman, who were very successful motorcycle scramblers, motocrossers if you like. They weren't happy with what was available at the time, so they started making their own bikes. Eventually coming up with this frame design. Now this is a MK3. Now it's a very special frame, very beautiful frame. It's nickel plated. It's made out of 4130 chrome moly tubing, handmade on the original jigs, and nickel plated, oil in frame. You put the oil in here. Now every one of these joints has a hole in it and allows oil to pass to every other part of the frame. It's all interconnected and holds 6 pints of oil. Now underneath here, underneath there, you can't quite see it, or maybe you can. Yeah, right there. That's where the oil gets sucked out. There's a little filter in there. The oil gets sucked out and gets sucked up by the pump. The oil pump in here gets pumped around the engine and then gets pumped out, up, haven't put the pipe in yet but I will, up and back to here, and this is where the oil returns to the tank. On the other side there's a similar outlet, and this is the breather, and this allows the crankcase on the engine to breathe, and I'll route that back and probably drop it over the top of the chain so the chain gets a bit of oil mist. So what else can I say about this? It's a Triumph engine, a 650. These MK3s were designed to take the unit 650, which came out in 1963. This one is a 72, but they didn't really change all that much. Unit in so much as the engine, which is this part, and the gearbox, which is that part, are in a common casing here. You no longer have the separate gearbox, which you had to move backwards and forwards to adjust your primary chain. Okay, a bit about my build. Well, I'm part way through it. This is a regulator rectifier, which I'm just deciding where to fit. I think I'll put it up top here, put it on an aluminum plate so it can cool. The seat goes there. The seat isn't readily removable, so that's a good place to put that out the way. The single carburetor is a 928 Concentric, and eventually I will put a hose from here to the airbox, which is there, so get filtered air into the engine. This side of the airbox I've cut out and I'm going to make a plate and a little battery box to go in. Okay, it's just fiberglass, no big deal. I'll just make a circular plate with a box, set it inside so it can hold the battery. The air box is plenty big enough. There's a filter on the other side, you can see the back edge of it. I made that little bracket there to hold it. Features of the bike. Well, here we have the rather nice engine plates that hold it all together. Excuse my focus, it's terrible. Here we have the means of adjusting the primary chain, the secondary chain tension by moving the swing arm back, and that's achieved by these discs here. You've got a set of 10 discs. By substituting this for another one, you actually move the spindle of the swing arm back. These are all numbered. You can't quite see the number, but you use the same number each side, and that moves it back. You never have to worry about wheel alignment. It's all done. It was all built into the frame. So as long as you've got the same number disc each side, you're good to go. And by the time you get all the way back, your chain is pretty worn. So it's decision time. Take a link out or buy a new chain. Up to you. The engine, I didn't destroy a bike to get an engine. This engine came over from the United States in a container with a bunch of bikes and parts of bikes that were then sold in the UK. It's a 1972, like I said. It's a Triumph TR6R engine. Originally it was a single carb, so I haven't changed anything there. Initially the engine looked good, but I decided to strip it down, and I have never ever seen a sludge trap so full of crap in all my life. So cleaned it all out, checked the bores, took them to a guy that used to race these for years and years and years, and he said the bores are okay, getting towards needing a rebore, but should be fine. So we'll put new rings in it, standard pistons 9-to-1, renewed the main bearings, renewed the big ends, renewed the little ends, which were totally knackered. Conrod looked okay, pistons looked okay, had the head checked over for flatness, and had the valve seats recut at a racing engineering place in town, not far from here. Ground the valve, lapped the valves in myself. Everything else looked good. So the engine is virtually standard. It's got the 3-1-34 cams in, and we'll try those. We may change them later, or change the one of them later. I'm not quite sure. I've got a very nice auto advance unit, so I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to use points. I'm not going to go electronic on this one. Try to keep it as old school as possible. I understand points. I know what to do if they go wrong. I know what to do if the auto advance goes wrong. Carry a spare set of points with me and a screwdriver, and I will always be able to get home. Not so with electronic ignition. Some people love it. I'm completely ambivalent, but given a choice, I prefer old school. What else can I say? Let's have a look at the back end of the bike. Now, the wheel we've got is an A65 wheel, a BSA A65 with the crinkle, quickly detachable hub on it. The brake drum and the sprocket stay where they are when you take the wheel out, and there's a spline here between the two, so you pull the spindle, take out the spacer, then the wheel will drop away and leave the brake drum and what have you there. I haven't put a speedometer drive on it at the moment. I'm just wondering whether to do that or go with a modern one, or not even bother, just to carry a GPS or a phone or something. I'm not quite sure. Hagen shocks, recommended by Rickman Motorcycles. I'm going with those. I'm going to try them. I'm not going to be doing serious competition work, so I think they'll be adequate. The sprocket and drum came from a scrapyard in Birmingham, and they belong to a Victor GP, and on those the sprocket fits on this side of the drum and not the other, so you can whip the wheel out, take the sprocket off, stick another sprocket on if you want to change the gearing for a different course. It's a lot easier than the standard Victor or the A65 or that kind of thing, where the sprocket is bolted on the other side of the drum. You can tell these drums because they don't have flanges on them, don't have ribs or whatever you want to call them, so you can pull that off fairly quickly and easily. What else? Hagen again, coming around the side of the bike. Nothing really special here. Brake lever, obviously. I've been just putting the clutch back together. These are the engine plates that go with it, with the kit. I haven't put the alternator on yet. Nothing much to see here. Oh, just banged my head on the head. This is the air cleaner, and this is the fiberglass air box that is supplied with the kit. Nothing much else here. Putting the coils under here, out the way. Cheap little horn to be illegal if I take it on the road. Handlebars are nothing fancy, just some period looking bars. I think they're off a Norton that was exported to America that time, kind of style. Was it the Ranger or something? Can't remember what it's called, but typical bars of the time, sort of high, wide and handsome, you know. No crossbar. Don't want a crossbar, having clobbered my chest a few times. I don't want that, and also I didn't want to put a padded crossbar on because it wouldn't really look period. Haven't decided on lights yet. It will have lights of some description, but minimal, sort of enduro ISDT type lights. Coming around the front again, we'll have a look at the forks. Now the forks are very nice. They've got alloy yokes. They're Beta units, BETOR, which is a Spanish copy of Seriani's. Apparently they work quite well. They came off a Can-Am, a 1970s Can-Am, as did the front wheel. Waiting to get one or two brake parts so I can put the brake back together. Small diameter brake, which would be typical for an off-road bike of that age group. Probably won't be all that hot on the road, but I'm going to have to learn to live with it. I'm going to fit another rim. I'll get one from the stockists in Birmingham and build up a rim. What else to say? A little bit about the bike. Well, let me put the tank on first and the panels and give you an idea of what it's going to look like. Hang on. So here we are. This is the bike in all her splendor. I've just put the panels on, I haven't bolted them down or anything, just give you an idea. There's no seat cushion on there, but you may recognize the bike now. British Racing Green. What other colour is there? So yeah, I first got interested in Rickmans many years ago when I saw a Rickman Bull Taco, and I thought, what a great looking bike. And obviously I'd heard of Don and Derek Rickman, but that was kind of a little bit before my time. I'm not that old. But anyway, there she is. It came from the Rickman factory from Stroud in Gloucestershire as a kit. I initially made an inquiry just asking how long it would take to get hold of a kit, not really intending to buy. They told me several weeks or months, I can't remember, and I just went, oh, okay. And then a couple of weeks later I got a phone call from Adrian Moss, the owner, and he said, look, I think there's a frame available. I don't think the guy who ordered it really wants it. Do you want it? And I said, well, yes, I do. And so that's how it happened. Didn't really intend buying it, but I ended up with it all the same. This tank is a 3-gallon desert tank. Ordinarily this bike would have, my focus has gone again, this bike would have a 1-gallon tank, but obviously 1 gallon's not really much use, it won't get you very far. Great for racing, and my focus has gone completely. I do apologise. So what else can I say? Well, here she is. She's a Rickman MK3 650 Triumph engine. It's not going to be shiny, not going to be super polished. It's going to look like a late 1960s bike. It's got some rather sexy exhausts, which I haven't put on, but I will put up another video when she's completely together, just giving you an idea of what I've been up to. Been many thousands of miles away from my firearms, but I've been keeping myself busy, staying healthy. Hope you are all healthy. Hope your families are okay. So take care of yourselves. As always, look after one another, and I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.